Howdy y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Scene, and in today's video we're going to be talking about hosting a cooking party. So if you enjoy Palia content, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out, and give this video a thumbs up, and let me know down in the comment what's your best tip for hosting a cooking party if you ever hosted a cooking party, or tell me your favorite thing to cook or whatever. Comment for the algorithm to help me out. But any rate, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. And I'm going to go ahead and get into it and start talking about my first tip, because I have plenty of people who hop into my stream at twitch.tv/kfearscene, where I do cooking parties every Sunday. And, they'll pop in and they'll be like, hey, what's your number one tip for somebody who's never done a cooking party before and wants to host one? And so I know it sounds pretty basic, but my first tip is to participate in a cooking party. There's a lot of nuances that, just kind of come and happen. And so it's good to go ahead and do a couple of cooking parties. That way, you're used to the ebb and flow of the way things go. So that when you do host your own, you've seen how other people deal with different situations, and other people deal with different things, and, might help you for when you host your own party and have your own issues happen like that. So that would be my first tip, is to participate in one, And on that note of it being your very first one, when you do actually host your first cooking party, pick an easier recipe like fish tacos or sashimi or petite fives, something that's not going to take that many ingredients, particularly cheaper ingredients, as, you don't want to have your first party being all of these complicated ingredients that that you might or might not have. Because that kind of brings me on to my next tip, is make sure you have extras for most of the major roles. Like for instance, on my cooking party Sunday, I was starting the cakes, so I had blueberries to start the cakes, but I also had to hop over here and do fruit frosting, and because we was just short a couple of people, and that happens. So I made sure I had enough sweet leaf ready, so where if I needed to hop on sweet leaf I could, and I had enough milk, butter, and flour in case I had to hop on batter. I got an oven right here, so I was quickly able to shift if need be to fill the extra rolls. You want to make sure you're depending on yourself, not everybody else, to make sure this party runs smoothly, which is why I start off all of my cooking parties. I like that because that way I trust myself, and that way I gotta worry about nobody else not clicking this used star quality ingredients. Because some people might accidentally not click it, and then you got to start a party without start ingredients. And as you can see, sometimes a lot of people don't have start ingredients, especially when it comes to vegetables and fruit. Everybody's pretty much got start at this point, unless you're super new. So, and most people bring starred quality to make the food worth more. So I would definitely make sure you have enough to cover the other side rolls in case somebody disconnects or somebody has to leave, and you can easily pivot. Now, when you are hosting a bigger party, you do want to make sure you've got enough mixing stations and prep stations, ovens, stoves, you got to make sure you got enough of these. As you can see here, I've got over 10 prep stations and mix stations for over prep options and for different recipes. And here I've got 5 stoves, and then I got like 3 more stoves out here because some recipe over prep is on the stove. So, and I only have 3 ovens because I haven't found anything that needed more than 3 ovens. So those are fine. But yeah, I definitely recommend having enough spots And don't decorate inside. Don't put a cooking party inside your house. I've been to a few cooking parties inside the house where me as a Switch player, and especially before the Switch 2 came out, because not everybody has a Switch 2 yet, and some people are on older, slower computers. Being on an enclosed building and all of that cooking going on and not having like extra walls and everybody's really close to the character, it does mess up some people's gameplay and some people gets claustrophobic. So I have found that these pavilions are like the best option for a cooking party. I've got like 4 of these out here, and as you can see, I've got a couple of prep stations and mixing stations and an oven and a stove all in one section. And I've got some more of a similar, over here, and the same for over here. And this is so that people can cook together if they want to, or if they don't want to, they can come all the way out here in the middle of nowhere. I have a couple of stations that are, off by themselves in case somebody wants to do something by themselves. Most everybody tends to like to hang out with people and participate with other people, so I like to mix in the stations myself. That way people are close to each other, and it's much more, and everybody has a more enjoyable time. Now, to make sure you have that enjoyable time, you got to make sure you've got conversations going. Now, whether that means you're typing in chat, which if you're on the Switch, make sure you attach a keyboard to your Switch. But if you're on PC, I personally like to run mine on Twitch. That way people can come into my Twitch stream and my chat, and we can much easier round things up in case, accidents happen, because accidents do happen. Sometimes somebody might burn a cake, or somebody might accidentally burn something on the stove, or make the wrong ingredient, and that happens, and you gotta be patient with a lot of these new people. I know on my stream on Sunday, I had 2 people who were brand new to cooking parties, and we had a couple of mess ups. I had to reassure them that it's okay, it's no worries. We all mess up, Lord knows I mess up. One time I accidentally made a burger on Sunday instead of cakes because burgers are at the top of the list, and I didn't scroll down one, and I accidentally just started making a burger. So, accidents happen, and being nice to people and reassuring them that it's okay that you accidentally messed up, it's fine, especially when they're new to Palia. We have a lot of, a game like this, there's always going to be new and old people constantly cycling through. So you want to make sure that you make a nice, welcoming environment for everybody. And my next tip is make sure to post your cooking party on the Palia party website hours before your party. I've seen so many people like post it at the time their party's starting, and I'm like, nobody's gonna, it's hard to coordinate so many people last minute. Yeah, you'll have a lot of last minute signups, and most people won't sign up for your party last minute. But it's good to go ahead and have it up a couple hours beforehand with your name, the time you want it started, with the time zone, because time zones are, a thing in this world. So you want to make sure everybody is on the right time frame, so nobody shows up an hour earlier, an hour late, and be like, where's the party, and your character name so that people can add you, I feel like that's very important, because I've tried to sign up for a couple of parties in my life, and they don't have a character name that I can add, so I'm like, how am I supposed to come to your plot and then cook with you? You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so these are just some general overall tips to help make your next party a bit smoother, coming from somebody who has hosted parties over the last year. So but yeah, I guess that's gonna be all for today's video. So until the next one, I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye.